deliberations and discussions took place in this hall with regard to peace and security on the continent, the reforms that we are trying to put in place for this organization, and at the end also the participation of the African Union to the G20. Of course, we received the reports of the assembly committees, which are presided over by heads of states. Agenda 2063 was one of them, the reports, or the NEPAD report, the AFCFTA report, and so on and so forth, and in particular also a report on the UN Security Council reforms and the demands of the African Union to have these 2 permanent seats with the right of veto and 5 non-permanent seats. And as a side events, there were almost 15 side events that have been organized during these 4 days of the 39 session of the summit. We had a forum of the business community. That was also something new. Given the fact that the financing of our development programs are becoming more and more challenging, it has been advised that we embark on a journey with our business community so that they also become a contributor to our development programs. And we had a forum as a side event in this building. The second side event, which is very important, was, His Excellency the President said it, was the launch of the theme of the year, water and sanitation. We know all about that. And then the third forum also was organized around, how best we can strengthen our health structures. And I know that this is a big challenge for the continent, and the CDC has been very, very active, very instrumental in this particular sector, and so on and so on, so on and so forth. So the conference actually pinpointed the fact that the heads of state will have 0 tolerance for unconstitutional or unconstitutional change of governments on our continent. The conference also underscored its determination to silence the guns. This is also a very important program if we contemplate to develop this continent and create the integration conditions for our countries. We need to silence the guns. We need peace on this continent. We need stability on this continent, and we have a program for that. The conference really underscored the necessity and its determination to pursue the goal of silencing the guns. And finally, the conference also committed to support the reforms, because without reforming the way we are handling our security issue, peace issue, the way we are handling our economic challenges and trade-related affairs, I think it will be very difficult to reach the deliverables that we need to reach. And we all know that the Agenda 2063 is built on 5 pillars, which are the 10-year plan, and then divided in 5-year plans. And we launched the 2024-2028 5-year plan, and we would like to see better performance in terms of deliverables in the time frame of this 10-year plan. So it's not easy, it won't be easy, but we are very optimistic and hopeful because we believe that the continent has what it takes in terms of resources, human resources, financial resources. It has, natural resources, and we do have also the policies that we need to implement Agenda 2063 through these plans and also roadmaps. Now, it's very important also, one last point, that the conference recognize, colonization as a crime against humanity. That's very important. And we also the conference expressed its solidarity with Palestine and the Palestinian people, and invited the Prime Minister of the Palestinian Authority to come and deliver his speech here. This is a tradition in this building. This is not the first time, but given the circumstances now and what is going on in Gaza and the West Bank, I think it had a more, let's say, symbolic importance than anything else. But the African Union member countries supports the rights of the people of Palestine to become independent and have their own statehood. Thank you very much. We are ready to take on a number of questions.
Thank you very much, Excellency. Let's go straight into our question and answer section. Can I have a show of hands? If I've asked you to speak, very quickly introduce yourself, ask your one question per person so that we can get through the 5 questions that we have scheduled. The first hand that I saw went up from here, then there was that one. I will take the lady at the back. Let's go with those 3 for the first round. Please. Please, can you go to a microphone?
Tom Kennedy from France 24, question for the President of Burundi. What is your strategy to resolve the crisis in the east of the DRC?
Thank you. Please introduce yourself and ask your question.
Mike, give him the mic.
Bonjour, c'est Mohamed Wali, journaliste de la télévision algérienne Al24 News. Le sommet vient d'adopter la déclaration d'Alger sur les crimes coloniaux. Comment évaluez-vous cette initiative? Et dans le sillage des efforts de l'Algérie après les ATF, comment jugez-vous les initiatives algériennes en faveur de la complémentarité continentale? Merci.
Complémentarité continentale.
Please, madam, give us your name and ask your question.
Good afternoon. My name is Bongani Seziba, News Central TV, Nigeria. My question is, has the conference maybe discussed on the inclusion of Sahel countries? Because you speak about silencing of the guns. Is there maybe a discussion on including them in the AU?
Thank you very much, Excellency, Chairperson of the Union. I will hand over to you.
Merci beaucoup. Vous avez posé une question qui nous intéresse beaucoup, une question de la stabilisation de l'Est de la RDC. D'abord, nous avons l'espoir parce que déjà, il y a la volonté de dialogue entre les protagonistes. Ce conflit se dessine en 2 images. Il y a cette tension entre le Rwanda et la RDC. Mais il y a en interne aussi des groupes armés congolaises. Nous avons ce qui est l'apaisement à partir des relations entre le Rwanda et la RDC. Nous avons déjà un accord de Washington qui instaure le cessez-le-feu. Ce cessez-le-feu est un instrument qui ramène les parties ensemble. Même si aujourd'hui il semble qu'il n'y a pas de confiance réelle entre les 2 parties, il y a cet instrument. Ils sont obligés parce que l'accord est signé par chaque partie. Alors il revient aux médiateurs d'aider les parties alors à signer cet accord. Il faut aussi qu'il y ait des mécanismes de mise en œuvre de l'accord. Le cessez-le-feu est une chose, mais il faut le mettre en œuvre. Le mettre en œuvre, d'abord, c'est le désengagement des forces. Le désengagement des forces, si ce sont des forces étrangères, le désengagement implique que les forces étrangères doivent regagner leur pays. Aussi, le désengagement implique la garantie qu'aucune partie ne reprendra pas les hostilités. Il faut une force aussi, que je dirais, d'interposition pour garantir la sécurité des uns et des autres. Mais aussi, le cessez-le-feu implique que les combattants aillent dans le processus de désarmement, démobilisation et le processus aussi de garantir la sécurité de tous les citoyens. Parce que si les forces combattantes quittent le terrain, il faut que les citoyens aient la garantie de sécurité. Ça, c'est du côté de l'accord de Washington, mais aussi du côté intercongolais, il y a les négociations qui sont en cours à Doha. Aussi là, il y a eu engagement de cesser les hostilités et d'entamer le dialogue. À ce moment-là, ça concerne les Congolais. Les Congolais pourront alors se mettre ensemble dans un dialogue. J'ai appris que le président Félix Tshisekedi est déterminé à entamer le processus de dialogue intercongolais pour ramener la stabilité dans le pays. Alors notre rôle en tant qu'Union africaine, c'est d'accompagner et de conseiller les partis pour qu'effectivement ils s'engagent sans détour vers le retour à la paix. Voilà pour cette première question.
Merci, President. Excellency Chairperson.
J'aimerais ajouter aux explications à la stratégie que le président vient de déployer que l'Union africaine également a mis en place un mécanisme qui est piloté par le président Faure Gnassingbé, qui est le président du Togo, et avec un secrétariat qui est installé ici à Addis Ababa, ainsi que des facilitateurs de personnalités connus d'anciens présidents ont été donc sollicités, tels que le président Obasanjo, la présidente Sahle Werket, la présidente Samba Panza, etc., d'anciens présidents donc, qui essayent, avec un terme de référence de leur mission qui est très clair, d'aller vers je dirais, les terrains qu'a évoqués le président Diachimé, à savoir donc tout ce qui se passe à l'intérieur d'abord de la RDC, dialogue intercongolais, etc., et ensuite les relations entre le Rwanda et la RDC. Le président Faure a déjà fait des visites dans toutes les capitales de la région. Il a visité également le président de la République du Burundi. Et je crois que l'Union africaine est aujourd'hui, je dirais, dans la position et la posture de piloter cette médiation et de ne pas laisser seulement, n'est-ce pas, les partenaires extérieurs venir essayer de régler le problème africain. Et l'accord de Washington est bien, il a été bien accueilli par l'Union africaine, ainsi que la déclaration de Doha. Mais maintenant, c'est à l'Union africaine d'aller de l'avant dans le processus donc de médiation et de stabilisation de l'Est de la RDC. Voilà ce que je pourrais ajouter à ce sujet.
Do you want to take the other two questions, Excellency Chairperson?
Yeah, with regard to the second question, the theme of last year, if you remember, was the reparations for Africans and African ascendants due to the slavery and colonization eras. I think it's very important to understand and underscore that the African Union has always considered colonization, slavery, as a crime against humanity. So this year, the conference has again, underscored the fact that we needed to make it in a declaration, and the declaration presented by Algeria has been endorsed. So it's very important to demonstrate that kind of commitment and determination to fight against, all form of colonization on the continent. And I think this is something that is in line with the whole, struggle for independence since the 60s, 50s, 60s, and then it is ongoing. And I think that this issue of colonization and reparations will continue to be, our leitmotif in this union.
Excellency, there was a question on the inclusion of the countries of the Sahel.
Merci. La situation dans la région du Sahel n'est pas une question qu'on peut prendre à la légère. C'est aussi une question complexe, parce que le terrorisme qui s'est installé dans cette zone font des crimes transfrontaliers. Ça concerne presque toute la région. Alors la première chose, c'est qu'il faut qu'il y ait solidarité entre les États de la région pour combattre ensemble. C'est ce que l'Union africaine est en train de faire pour les aider à ramener la paix dans cette région. Mais aussi, la question devient complexe parce qu'il y a aussi des États où les institutions ne sont pas internationalement reconnues au niveau de l'Union africaine, parce que l'Union africaine est contre le changement inconstitutionnel des régimes. Alors à ce moment-là, nous voyons que les dirigeants de ces États aussi ont besoin d'être approchés pour chercher le retour rapide à l'ordre constitutionnel, mais aussi les aider à stabiliser leurs États. Donc aujourd'hui, nous ne pouvons pas dire qu'il faut associer les terroristes. Les terroristes n'ont pas d'idéologie. L'idéologie, c'est criminel. Donc, il n'y a pas moyen d'associer un criminel pour aller chercher la paix alors que son idéologie, c'est criminel. Plutôt, on doit appeler à tous les citoyens de la région de s'unir, de se mettre ensemble et même de se convaincre qu'ils ont un ennemi commun. Et cela se fait quand les leaders de la région sont ensemble pour mobiliser ces citoyens. C'est ce que l'Union africaine voudrait. C'est pour cela que l'Union africaine a maintenu la connexion, la communication avec les États du Sahel pour chercher ensemble des solutions.
Chairperson.
Yes, the issue of reintegration of the Sahel countries in the African Union, President Dashimie has already tackled and handled it. The biggest problem that we have in that region is the proliferation of terrorist groups, traffickers, and all kinds of secessionist rebellions. And this region has become a source of concern when it comes to the neighboring countries too. So it's very important also to understand that we need to continue to engage with them. When I assumed office, I immediately appointed a special envoy, and my special envoy has been meeting recently with the leaders of those countries, and I also requested a visit to those capitals so that I can also start a direct dialogue with the leaders of that region. I think the Sahel countries need the support of the whole African Union, and I know that there is an initiative now that more than the neighboring countries, 18 countries of that region are seriously thinking of creating a platform, a common platform on how best they can handle these security issues together and not leave it to the 3 Sahel countries. I think this initiative will certainly be of critical importance in the coming weeks and months. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have 2 more questions. I'm just looking at the hands. Okay, there is one gentleman there at the back. I will take the gentleman at the back. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Talking about the African Continental Free Trade Area, I mean, a lot of applause and thumbs up coming in the execution by the SADC region and somehow by Ethiopia, obviously an anchor nation in the Horn and Eastern Africa. To what extent the conflict in the Sahel threatening the ongoing African Continental Free Trade Area, and why you, the organization, failed to set initiatives to halt the ongoing conflict in the Sahel region? And of course, the African Continental Free Trade is one of the leading initiatives by the African Union, showing a good progress and performance. But in the area of peace and security, we've been hearing African Union condemns these are the problems and stuff like that.
All right.
But we haven't seen any initiative in that regard.
Thank you. Thank you. There was a hand at the back. Please go ahead, sir. Interpreters, we cannot hear you. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. My name is Emmanuel Pakom Damali. I'm a journalist with the Daily Graphic from Ghana. The President of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, has decided or has already drawn the attention of the AU that he's going to table a resolution at the UN next month declaring slavery and slave trade as the greatest crime against humanity and seeking for reparation and reparative justice. We want to find out what is the commitment of the AU towards this cause and what strategies are you adopting to push for this agenda for the continent of Africa to gain its reparative justice that it seeks. Thank you very much.
One more question. There is a gentleman who put his hand up very quickly here.
Thank you. This is Samuel from Ethiopian Presidency. How does the AU view Ethiopia's Green Legacy Initiative as a model for enhancing watersheds and ensuring long-term water security across the Horn of Africa? Thank you.
Excellency Chair of the Commission, I will start with you.
The question around the lack of efficiency of the African Union to resolve crises and conflicts, and the lack of initiatives that create a sense of failure. And this could have an impactful effect on the development of trade on the continent, and in particular through our common framework, which is EFCFTA. Let me say that it's not the lack of initiatives that create that sense. Even an hour ago, I was in a C5 meeting, presided over by His Excellency President Ramaphosa on the Republic of South Sudan, and so many leaders, presidents were present. And I think that there are so many mechanisms that we try to use and utilize in order to bring peace and stability in some of our regions where we have conflicts and unstable situations. You are right when you say that one of the non-tariff barrier that we always refer to and mention is the lack of security in the border areas. If you don't have, 100% security in border areas, it's very difficult for goods to cross the border from a country to another. This is a real challenge. And then, of course, the unconstitutional change of governments create also more tension, not only inside the country, but also it might have a spillover effect on neighboring countries. But Silencing the Guns is really a flagship program in this Agenda 2063, and we are putting all our efforts, resources, and all the mechanisms necessary so that we can bring a difference on the ground. Monsieur le Président.
Merci. D'abord, à l'étape où nous sommes, on ne peut pas dire qu'il y a des échecs parce que nous sommes au début de l'opérationnalisation. Donc, si on est au début, il y a toujours des entraves, il y a des défis. Mais comme le président de la Commission vient de le dire, effectivement, pour qu'il y ait des échanges commerciaux, il faut la stabilité. Même à l'intérieur des États, s'il y a l'instabilité, il est difficile de faire des échanges. Alors, entre les États, ça aussi, s'il n'y a pas de stabilité, ça se complique. Mais à l'étape où nous sommes toujours optimistes. Nous sommes optimistes parce que plus le temps avance, plus les États s'approchent, plus on étudie des stratégies pour la stabilité. Merci.
With regard to the second question on the resolution that will be tabled by Ghana next month at the UN Security Council by His Excellency President John Mahama, I think that if Ghana decided to go to the UN Security Council, it is with the mandate of the African Union and with the support of the 55 countries. And without that support and the support of the A3 plus is the non-permanent members of the African countries in the Security Council. And I think that the whole process of demanding reparations and asking that slavery is and was considered as a crime against humanity, it is a collective effort. And Ghana is relying on the support of the African group in New York to advocate for that and to lobby for that. So rest assured that the Commission is behind Ghana to support the tabling of that resolution at the UN Security Council.
Excellency, do you want to continue and take the one on the green legacy?
On green legacy?
Yes, sir.
The African Union Commission really congratulates Ethiopia for its tremendous efforts it has been deploying in protecting the environment, launching this green legacy, and His Excellency Prime Minister Abiy has been very successful, and we have just to see the city of Addis Ababa that it speaks for itself. And also we have to remind us all that Ethiopia organized the African Climate Summit, which is now the declaration of that summit, the roadmap of that summit will be the reference documents for the African position when it will come to defend our position in climate justice, the financing of our adaptation plan, and also the voicing also the expectations of continent in energy transition, etc., etc. All these issues, you know them. And beyond that, we are preparing also, on the top of that, I mean, we are preparing ourselves to host here in Ethiopia, COP32. This will be the first time that the African continent will host this big event where almost 100,000 people will come, and it will be a great platform to voice the requirements, let's say the demands and expectations of this continent. And we also all know that we are the most affected by climate change, and we are not the countries which has, contributed to the green gas. How do you call it? Greenhouse effect. Greenhouse effect. Yes, greenhouse effect and emissions. The African continent contributed only up to 4%. 4% to the greenhouse effect and emissions, and the polluters have to pay. They have to support our member countries to develop their adaptation plans to fight against climate change. And each and every year, devastating cyclones, droughts, floodings, hit our continent. And most recently, we had very difficult, very strong cyclones in Mozambique, southern part of Madagascar. And a year ago, it was drought, that has stricken countries in the southern part of Africa, Zambia, Zimbabwe, and then floods in Somalia and elsewhere. I think it's very important to understand that this cycle of destructive natural phenomenon will keep repeating itself. And that's why adaptation plans are really a matter of survival for our economies. Just to give you also another example, one cyclone can destroy the economy of a country for good. From an emerging economy, you can just drop to the least developed country in one night. That's why I think it's very important to understand the effect of the climate change. What we are doing also, just to finish on this point, what we are doing as advocacy is to link, to show the nexus between climate change, migration, and debt sustainability. Because it is all turning around, circling around the economies of our countries. So we cannot, spare resources for development if we have to deal with the consequences of destructive natural phenomena that are the direct results of climate change.
Thank you, Excellency Chairperson of the Union. Do you have a comment?
Thank you very much for the media, for your presence. You have been very patient for a number of days, and you did, a great job. So the Commission and the Chairperson of the Union, thank you for your patience and your support. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, colleagues. Thank you for attending this press briefing.